Candidates are being asked about their own connections to or impressions of an array of celebrities, and with no explanation why, at least not yet. The parlor games have begun, my friends. Everybody is trying to connect the dots between the shiny, famous names and the beleaguered rap star Diddy and the charges.
You might be very surprised to hear the real list of famous people Diddy was connected to. He knew big bosses, music leaders, and even people from the British royal family. Diddy was connected to some of the most powerful men in the world. Also, these men were once friends with people who had bad reputations. These same people also knew Epstein. After some time you start to wonder, is it just a random thing that the same names come up every time something big and bad is found out? Or is it not a coincidence at all?
Famous people who partied and hung out with Diddy. Apparently there's like at least, 100 plus who are going to be named in his trial. Famous, shiny stars. We named some of them last night. We got a new one tonight, Iron Man. But we don't yet know what the connection is. Like, how are all these famous faces and names going to be connected to P. Diddy in his sex trafficking trial? It's the kind of thing they're all freaking out about, right? And there are many unnamed yet. We're just finding out about them in jury selection. But I'll tell you what, the internet is freaking out and making its connections. Which shiny star had what connection to Diddy, and how could that end up in the case?
T.D. Jakes is one of the famous people who said bad things about Diddy and tried to stay away from the drama. A few days after everyone found out that Diddy made a deal to tell on the people he worked with, Dallas church leader T.D. Jakes stopped being the main pastor of the big church called the Potter's House. T.D. Jakes is now trying to explain why he went to Diddy's parties so many times. But people don't believe him anymore.
People get on my nerves talking about who you should be seen with. I do homeless shelters. I walk in prison ministries. I deal with murderers. I deal with rapists and kills because they're our children, our sons, and our...
Almost a year ago, Cat Williams said T.D. Jakes was not being honest and said he would get into trouble with Diddy. Now, some of what Cat Williams said is starting to be true. In Lil Rod's case, Lil Rod said Diddy used T.D. Jakes. At first, T.D. Jakes was called a helper in what Diddy did. T.D. Jakes used religion to make himself look better. It is said that T.D. Jakes helped Diddy find new victims. He also tried to fix Diddy's image by using his job as the leader of the Potter's House.
I came in this business saying I was going to expose. When I talked about Michael Jackson, when I talked about R. Kelly, they canceled me for these things because why would you talk about another black dude? Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side. And we don't care nothing about the other side. Period. All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. T.D. Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
I'm good. I'm fine. I'm good because I know the truth.
T.D. Jakes, do not speak against homosexuality.
Diddy's protege, Usher, is also coming under scrutiny. Cassie described how Usher saw Diddy several times and assisted him in hiding his tracks during her testimony last week. Former Donity Kane member Don Richard also stated in his testimony that Usher had witnessed Combs' pop and tour in 2010 at a West Hollywood area. Cassie's stomach is being popped by Mr. Combs. He struck her in the stomach when they were having a private talk. Without hesitation, she leaned over and walked away.
Richard said she was not the only one who saw Sean Diddy Combs being violent. On the second day of her story in court, the 41-year-old talked about something that happened in 2010. She said Combs hit his girlfriend Cassie Ventura at a restaurant in West Hollywood, California. She also said that singer Usher saw what happened. During her talk on May 19, Richard said, Mr. Combs punched Cassie in the stomach. They were talking quietly, and then he hit her in the stomach. She quickly bent over and left. Richard was part of a girl group called Denny Kane, which started on Combs's TV show Making the Band in 2004. She said other musicians were there too, like singer Neo, music boss Jimmy Iovine, and rapper Big Daddy Kane. After the restaurant fight, when Richard and Cassie got into a car to leave, Richard said another fight happened with Combs,
who has pleaded not guilty to all charges, and his then-girlfriend she continues in her testimony, quote, "We got in the car to head back to her house. Combs grabbed her, slapped her, popped her in the mouth and told her to shut. Everyone was quiet." Justin Bieber is another well-known celebrity who was in a similar situation as Usher but did not hesitate to speak out when Justin was Usher's age. He was supposedly abused as a child when Justin was 13 years old. Diddy took him into his custody and is accused of abusing him during that time. There is video proof that some of the top people in Hollywood mistreated Justin. In a statement released a few days after the trial started, Justin acknowledged that he was aware of actual abuse occurring behind the scenes. Justin Bieber breaking his silence on the ordeal after months of speculation over their one-time relationship. His rep telling E! Although Justin is not among Sean Combs's victims, there are individuals who were genuinely harmed by him. Shifting focus away from this reality detracts from the justice these victims rightfully deserve. Bieber's questionable connection to Diddy piquing interest online as the rap mogul's indictment for text tracking and racketeering charges, which he denies, made headlines. Old clips of the two hanging out while Justin was underage resurfacing.
Let's just go get some girls. Let's go hang with some girls.
I made that from my heart. That's drunk talk. We hit him like this, so we and you walking, we hanging out, a little later on the night after the Usher concert.
There's also this old Jimmy Kimmel live segment adding to fan fears about what might have gone down with Diddy.
Got me a Lamborghini.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last time.
The Lamborghini for a day or two, and he got access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
Oh, apparently not.
Something, everything ain't for everybody.
This all comes as Bieber's followers are worried for him. The singer's erratic social media posts causing concern week after week. The believers asking if what he's seen behind the scenes of the industry. Billionaires like Jay-Z and Kanye remain silent, and Kanye continues to back Puff in the trial. Kanye was also mentioned. Was it because he was involved in the whole thing? Is why Michael B. Jordan, Kanye West, and more celebrities were name-dropped at Sean Diddy Combs' trial as jury selection in the mogul tracking trial got underway May 5th in New York. NBC News reports perspective. Jurors were shown a list of more than 100 names of people and places that may be referenced during the trial, including actors Michael B. Jordan, Mike Myers, and rapper Kanye West. While the aforementioned celebrities are not implicated in the case, the potential jurors were asked whether they knew any of the names listed and whether it would impact their ability to be impartial. Per the outlet, attorneys did not share an explanation for the list. The names of women who have taken legal action against Combs were also on the list, including his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, whose November 2023 sexual lawsuit against the rapper was settled one day after it was filed. Danny Dane alum Don Richard, who accused Combs of sexual assault in a lawsuit filed in September, was also listed. Combs has denied any wrongdoing in both cases.
Now there are rumors that Diddy lost the protection he had for a very long time. This might be the real reason why people found out about him in the first place. When Diddy did not listen to his bosses, they started to go after him. You have to think, it is strange that Diddy's whole life started falling apart just 2 months after he ended his deal with Diageo. Was there a connection between Diageo and why Diddy was exposed?
Diddy sues Diageo. Diddy filed a lawsuit accusing Diageo of neglecting the De Leon brand, racial discrimination, claiming they marketed it as an urban product and failed to treat him as a true business partner. Then in January 2024, they settled out of court. Diageo and Diego settled the dispute out of court. While details still remain sealed, the settlement marked the end of their business relationship. So this is from 2007 till 2024, 17 years. Could they have protected him? I don't know. Their CEO currently today is Deborah Ann Crew. She was a former intelligence officer in the military. Once intelligence officer, forever you're an intelligence officer. Who knows what happened? We don't know the relationship. We're not going to make any accusations. All we know is, could this have been a protection where they were at the parties and they knew things that were taking place and are like, wait, what do you want to do to us? No problem. Boom, drop the bomb. I don't know. All I'm saying is the timing is kind of strange. Maybe even they wanted to kind of be like, look, we know what's about to be dropped on this guy. We want to have nothing to do with you. We're out. Here's some money. You stay quiet. We'll pay you, but we want to get out of here. The only thing that the timing is kind of crazy is January 2024, they settle. 2 months later, remember what we're sitting there doing and minding our own business? And you hear, March of 2024, the feds are raiding Diddy's Miami home and his LA home. For what?
What happens behind closed doors will decide how this trial ends. The way Diddy's close friends were disappearing one by one when it helped him is not just an accident. It's possible that now Diddy is being targeted by the same people who were getting rid of his enemies before.
Well, Pierce, let me ask you a question. From your journalistic perspective, have you ever noticed how in this industry, people untimely meet their demise as soon as somebody else seems like they're having a problem? Have you ever seen that before?
Well, there was, of course, the case of one of his other ex-girlfriends, Kim Porter, who died of pneumonia at a very young age. You just referenced your own situation with pneumonia that you believe was deliberate poisoning. Do you believe that may be what happened to her?
Why are so many people coming down with pneumonia? Why is that happening to everybody? What is that about? Where have you ever seen this many cases of pneumonia associated with one situation? So, you know.
There were rumors well, I was going to mention on this that there have been rumors circulating online that Diddy may have poisoned Jamie Foxx, which caused his 2023 hospitalization. In his Netflix show, he compared Combs to the devil in revealing his near-death experience after a brain bleed and stroke. He said, I say this all the time. I saw the tunnel. I didn't see the light. It was hot in that tunnel. I thought, have I gone to the wrong place? I looked at the end of the tunnel, and I thought I saw the devil saying, come on. Or was that Puffy? I'm effing around, but if that was Puffy at a flaming bottle of Johnson...
Jamie Foxx's admission that Diddy poisoned him demonstrates how much darker this industry is than any of us could have ever thought. Joe Rogan talked about Diddy's accusations on a recent edition of the Joe Rogan Experience.
P. Diddy, why can't we get anything concrete? All we really have is the hotel hallway beat ass.
That one is in the process. At least,
I don't know.
but hold on. He's in jail. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of lawsuits. That one is like, we're going to find out. Jamie Foxx just recently said that P. Diddy poisoned him, and that's it.
I've heard that.
He talked about it on stage.
He said it?
He said it.
Got poisoned?
He said it.
He goes, I didn't have a heart attack because of the vaccine. It was Diddy shutting me up.
See if we can find that, because he said it on stage.
Whoa. Poisoning people?
Bro, whoa. I think there was some crazy bit going on.
Like Cosby shit? Like drugging?
Diddy wasn't even, I think it was murder could do it.
There's alleged murder. There's a bunch of people that got pneumonia, a bunch of convenient people that died of pneumonia. Jamie Foxx addresses whether Diddy was responsible for his 2023 hospitalization while filming Netflix special. Holy shit.
Jamie Foxx has a Netflix special. Should they not care about at all stand-up? Jamie Foxx is hilarious.
Audience member.
Yeah, right. Oh, I see him at clubs all the time. Working out his bit.
What is that? Share what you're about. Look at this. The audience members had varying accounts of the comedian's words. Two of them claimed that Fox said Diddy was responsible for what happened to him, that he's the one who called the FBI on Diddy, who's currently in prison awaiting trial on city robbery charges.
Diddy said no to the deal offered by the federal government. If he had agreed, he would have admitted he was part of crimes like selling drugs, forcing people into sex work, spreading diseases, and being part of a crime group. With the deal, Diddy would have gone to jail for less time. But now, that's not going to happen. If Diddy goes down, he might take others with him. If their names are on the tapes found at Diddy's house in Miami, people like Jay-Z, T.D. Jakes, Usher, and even Clive Davis could all end up in jail.
Last hearing before Sean Combs' trial starts, when he walked into federal court today, he appeared to be looking for his family. They've pretty much been at all of the hearings that I've been to, but there was no presence of his sons or his mother or his sister who had previously been at those hearings. So here's what came out of today's hearing. Number one, the government acknowledged that they offered Combs a plea deal. Combs acknowledged he has no interest in taking that. They're going to move forward with the trial. They also talked about the jury selection process, which one legal expert I spoke to said is probably the most important thing that you want to pay close attention to before the actual trial starts. And thirdly, we learned that Combs will be adding 2 new attorneys to his defense team. And just to recap, Combs, who is 55 years old, could spend the rest of his life behind bars if convicted on sex trafficking and racketeering. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges.
Tonight, Sean Combs makes it official he's rejecting the government's offer to plead guilty and spare himself the possibility of a prolonged term in prison. When asked if he turned down the offer, Combs answered, "Yes, I do, Your Honor." As he stood in a baggy beige jail uniform, terms were not disclosed, but prosecutors did say a plea could result in a shorter sentence for Combs than if he's convicted. The decision guarantees Combs will face trial beginning just 4 days from now that will test whether one of music's most prolific figures used his power, wealth, and fame to sexually acclimate both women and men for decades. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering, conspiracies, tracking, and transportation, to engage in prostitution charges that accused him of coercing alleged victims into prolonged drug-fueled activity that he called freak-offs and threatening them into silence. Don Richards has also testified against Diddy, describing how he beat Cassie viciously and essayed her in front of her. Richards described several distinct incidents of Diddy's alleged aggression. She said she witnessed Diddy use his clenched hand to punch Cassie in the face at a concert in Central Park.
After the girl group Donity Kane broke up, Richard joined Diddy's new group called Diddy Dirty Money. While talking in court, she told the jury that in 2009, she saw Diddy and Cassie Ventura at his house in Los Angeles. Richard said, according to NBC News, that Diddy came downstairs asking where his phone was. Then he threw Cassie to the floor. He tried to choke her. She fell and curled up into a ball to protect her head. Richard also said Diddy hit Cassie with a pan full of eggs. Then he grabbed her by the neck and dragged her upstairs. After that, Richard heard glass breaking. She said, "I was scared for her. I was scared to do anything." Richard's words in court come 8 months after she sued Diddy. She said he made her work in terrible and unfair ways for many years. This included touching her without permission, hitting her, and not letting her leave. In the lawsuit, which News got in September, it said Diddy would often meet with Richard while wearing only underwear. Even when she told him to put clothes on, he didn't listen. She also said Diddy made her take off her clothes, said mean things about her body, walked into her dressing room without asking while she wasn't wearing anything, and touched her without her permission. He said he was just showing the stylist what to do, but she didn't agree. Deal has also confirmed these assertions. Cassie was groomed by Diddy. He was nearly 40 when he began seeing her, and she was only 19. Diddy gradually took over all facets of Cassie life: her family, her work, her food, and even her.
If you don't think that dude groomed that young girl, took that impressionable young girl who wanted to be a star, who wanted all her dreams that she had to come true, and fed her drugs, fed her pills, fed her alcohol, and fed her mushrooms and things that she never took before, to F her mind up, and then put her in a position that she thought that what little that she had, that she didn't want to lose it. If you didn't think that he did something and did that to her, bruh, I gotta say something wrong with you.
Diddy would stop anyone who tried to help Cassie. The third victim, a woman named Gina, is still missing. Gina was supposed to talk in court about the abuse, but now she has disappeared.
And whenever these trials come about, the closer you get to the trial date, a lot of things start happening to remove people from the case that are going to strengthen the case for the prosecution. And I feel like we're watching that take place now with one of the male sex worker guys who provided tapes to the feds. He's disappeared. And this is similar to what happened in the Tory Lanez case, where the bodyguard whose DNA was on the weapon, he disappeared. So I expect to see a lot of strange things take place. I expect to see the defense team do a lot of steps to lighten the image of Combs, and we've been watching that take place.
From what you know about him, Sean Combs, obviously the perception of him has changed dramatically since these allegations were made and since he got charged. I mean, from everything we're seeing now, he seems a very unpleasant, nasty, violent piece of work. Is that a correct assessment?
The assessment is going to be correct. So what I've learned is whenever you see a gentleman like this from affluence and power, whenever they have an addiction to MDMA or the drug ARB, they call it the love drug. So he's been doing this drug for over 20 years. So that's going to leave his view skewed when it comes to sexual activity. I believe it's helped turn him into a sexual deviant.
These stories are really upsetting and show a terrible picture of what happens in Hollywood when no one is watching. Behind all the fame and money, there is a dirty and sad world where people get hurt, treated badly, and left behind when they are no longer useful.
Now, here's Fox. Go ahead, Rob.
What jurors heard today were tales of appalling physical abuse by Sean Combs as prosecutors portrayed him as a monster who controlled people and plied them with drugs, threats, money, brandishing guns during these on-camera performances that he liked to call freak-offs. And in fact, jurors were shown for the first time today that horrifying videotape. Combs brutally beating, kicking, and dragging his then-girlfriend. And then a male escort took the witness stand, and he talked about how he saw firsthand that same young woman repeatedly battered by the defendant, who then tried to bribe a hotel security guard with a stack of cash to get rid of the evidence. In opening statements, what struck me was how the defense attorney openly admitted that her client committed domestic violence, but then tried to argue, well, that's about trafficking for which he's charged. Technically, yes, but it is an underlying crime in the racketeering case against him, which includes kidnapping, arson, crimes, bribery, obstruction, all part of this alleged criminal enterprise run by Sean Combs. His attorney also admitted to the jury that her client's conduct is, quote unquote, indefensible, and that he may be a deviant, but that doesn't make him a criminal, which strikes me as not a terribly great defense. Are going to be arguing, and they said this to the jury, that the alleged female victims, and there are a lot of them, are all motivated to lie out of greed because they filed lawsuits against Combs for money damages. Well, that is a typical defense tactic, but it is dangerous, it is perilous. Jurors might perceive it as the lawyers re-victimizing the victims. Katie?
Diddy's trial is showing more and more about a dark side of Hollywood that many people didn't want to know about. People are running away as more big names are being revealed. Like rich company bosses, famous music stars, and even church pastors. Tell us in the comments. Do you think Diddy is just another famous person being blamed? Or is this the beginning of a big cleanup in Hollywood? If you watch the whole video, tap the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Subscribe for more secret updates and don't forget to like this.